Aerospace will be putting together a team to go to India to analyze the cockpit data. These are the latest updates coming in. Aerospace will be putting a team together to go to India to analyze cockpit data as well. So GET also sending a team across to India as we speak, Air Vice Marshal Kak.
Yeah, well, that is
Standard.
GE, and it is their reputation also which is at stake, and they are the people who will be primarily concerned, including the manufacturers, Boeing, because then there's a question of if there's an elevator jamming, then the control systems will have to be examined. So I think all the stakeholders in this flight, the aircraft, the manufacturers of the aircraft, manufacturers of the components, the flight control system, manufacturers of other elements of the aircraft, including operators like Air India and regulators like DGCA and the Pilots Association, one of whose members is on our panel. All of them are stakeholders and they will be consulted, they will get into the process. But as I said at the outset, Rishabh, our focus at this moment has to be on relief and rehabilitation, and on the highest priority, whatever can be done.
Are these all the possibilities right now, Wing Commander Bhushan? Complete electronic lockdown, dual engine failure, bird hit. These are all possibilities right now? Or do you rule out any of them?
All these are possible issues, and we're not going to something beyond this because of today. The environment is full of all kinds of speculation. So let us keep it to technical issues, technical problem that could be there, and therefore wait and watch. We can't really make a comment on the other issues as such, but it is possible that fuel starvation, like all of us have been speaking, but it's all guesswork right now, and we'll have to wait.
Possibly, there was too less height, Air Vice Marshal Kak. Normally, of course, if you have time, if you have height, that buys you time as well to circle around a bit, to burn a bit of fuel. Here, the aircraft had just taken off, had not assumed that kind of height, and perhaps there was too less time to act.
Absolutely. I mean, that is what I said at the very outset. In fact, I was giving you the sequencing of the movement of the aircraft from the time the doors close and it starts to taxi out till it takes off at VR, the rotation speed. The problem is actually the lack of height. And that's why the urgency to convert speed into height to the extent is possible before you stall the aircraft. Because once you have height, he has all the time in the world. So you're rightly emphasizing the obvious, justifiably so, because if he had 2,000 feet, the situation would have been entirely different. Then he would have been making RT calls to the air traffic control, saying exactly what is happening. And unfortunately, that was not the case. We don't know. We are only depending on reports which have come from Flight International and other agencies, whether it was 675 or 500 feet or 400 feet. No one knows, frankly. But the fact is that as long as that aircraft, a huge aircraft like the 787 Dreamliner, is about 500 feet off the ground, it is hugely vulnerable if it doesn't have power with it, which enables it to climb, to gain height. Once it gains height, the power is with the pilot, because then he can decide what to do, what not to do.
Okay, we are learning more inputs coming in this hour. Indian Embassy in Portugal has released a helpline number +351 911 991 939. Remember, there were 7 Portuguese nationals on board the AI-171 flight. Now, obviously, this is the standard operating procedure. These helpline numbers have, of course, been announced. Wing Commander Bhushan, this is what happens, post such a tragedy. There are helpline numbers announced. There was one by Air India. Ahmedabad, also, the police has also put out a number. Now we're letting the Indian Embassy in Portugal releasing a helpline number as well. 7 Portuguese nationals on board this flight. There were other British nationals as well. In fact, the United Kingdom Prime Minister has also tweeted already.
Yeah, well, that to be, it's a very tragic and unfortunate accident. And as everybody has said, if there's a height, the pilot could have taken a different call and you would have got the aircraft under control and landed. But obviously, there was no height with him. And such a big airline, if the wingspans are so large as that, there's nothing that he could have done except what he tried to do. You can see the aircraft in level, almost leveled out and going straight ahead. So there's nothing that, I mean, all of us are really only guessing today.
Yes, indeed. Okay, well, these are, of course, the latest updates that we're continuously tracking